Welcome back to IBI, India Business Insights. India is today the fifth largest economy in the world and is expected to be soon the third largest economy. It is a market of over 1 billion people who are beginning to get increased spending power. So today, any company of consequence will have to look at doing business in India. Depending on the nature of the business and the size of the company and its commitment to India, a foreign company can start a business in many different forms. Today, we are going to discuss what kind of organization forms can a foreign business establish in India. Before going into the video, please like, share and subscribe to our channel India Business Insights. First, let's talk about how a foreign investor can commence business in India. For carrying out exim, research and project execution operations, they can set up as a foreign company itself. For carrying out manufacturing or providing services and other related business operations, they will have to set Indian company or a limited liability partnership. For a foreign company to carry out business in India, it has three options. Liaison office. To represent the parent company in India, this may also be done at the prospecting stage. For example, a foreign company bidding for an infrastructure project. Branch office. To undertake activities such as export, import of goods, research, consultancy, etc. Project office. Activities as per contract to execute a project. Each of these kind of companies will have different rights to conduct operations, open bank accounts and transact business in India. The permissions and reporting requirements to RBI and other government bodies will also differ. A foreign company may also conduct business in India and set up a domestic company, either in partnership with an Indian company as a joint venture or alone as a wholly owned subsidiary. Joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary as a private limited or public limited company. Limited liability partnership. FDI is permitted under automatic route in LLPs operating in sectors or activities where 100% FDI is allowed through the automatic route and there are no FDI linked performance conditions. Types of permitted business establishments. There are 4 types of incorporated establishments for conducting business in India, namely private limited, public limited, one-person company and limited liability partnership. They differ in terms of the number of members or shareholders they may have, the number of directors, who they can sell their share to, etc. In a private establishment, there should be a minimum of 2 members to a maximum of 200 members. In the case of directors, there should be a minimum of 2 directors to a maximum of 15 directors. It is mandatory to have 1 resident director. In this type of establishment, the ownership can be transferred and public subscription of shares is not allowed. It is not mandatory to issue a prospectus and there is no limit to managerial remuneration for managerial personnel. The declaration should be filed prior to the commencement of business or operations. Legal status. Private company is a separate legal entity registered under the Companies Act 2013. The directors are liable for defaults made under the Act. Governing Act or Law, Companies Act 2013. Annual statutory filings, annual statement of accounts and annual return with ROC. Annual filings and audit. IT returns are to be filed and audit is mandatory. In a public limited company, there should be a minimum of 7 members to unlimited members. In the case of directors, there should be a minimum of 3 directors to a maximum of 15 directors. It is mandatory to have at least 1 resident director. In this type of establishment, the ownership can be transferred and public subscription of shares is allowed. It is mandatory to issue a prospectus and shareholder approval is required if remuneration payable is above limits. The declaration should be filed prior to the commencement of business or operations. Public company is a separate legal entity registered under the Companies Act 2013. The directors are liable for defaults made under the Act. Governing law, Companies Act 2013. Annual statutory filings, annual statement of accounts and annual return with ROC, annual filings and audit. IT returns are to be filed and audit is mandatory. OPC, one-person company. In one-person company, there should be a minimum and maximum of one. In the case of directors, there should be a minimum of one director to a maximum of 15 directors. It is mandatory to have one resident director. In this type of establishment, the ownership can be transferred to a nominee in the event of the death of the owner, and public subscription of shares is not allowed. It is mandatory to issue a prospectus. The declaration should be filed prior to the commencement of business or operations. Legal status. OPC is a separate legal entity registered under the Companies Act 2013. The directors are liable for defaults made under the Act. Governing Act, Companies Act 2013. Annual statutory filings, annual statement of accounts and annual return with ROC, annual filings and audit. IT returns are to be filed and audit is mandatory. LLP, Limited Liability Partnership. In LLP establishments, there should be a minimum of 2 partners and no limit on the maximum number of members. There should be 2 designated partners. In this type of establishment, the ownership can be transferred and public subscription of shares is not allowed. It is not mandatory to issue a prospectus. The managerial remuneration is based on the LLP agreement. The declaration should be filed immediately after obtaining a certificate of incorporation. Legal status. LLP is a separate legal entity registered under LLP Act 2008. The designated partners of LLP are liable for contraventions under the Act. Governing law, LLP Act 2008. Annual statutory filings, annual statement of accounts and annual return with ROC, annual filings and audit. IT returns are to be filed and an audit is mandatory in case turnover exceeds INR 40 lakhs or contribution exceeds INR 25 lakhs. So, who is a resident director? Section 149(3). Every company should have at least one director who has stayed in India for a total period of not less than 182 days in the financial year. The company may appoint more than 15 directors after passing a special resolution. Also, certain classes or classes of companies, as may be prescribed, shall have at least one women director. Now, let's talk about commencing business in India as a liaison office, branch office, and project office. We discuss here the eligibility, permitted activities, remittance, and validity of each of these forms of doing business in India. Eligibility. Liaison office. For LO, the profit-making track record during the immediately preceding 3 financial years in the home country and net worth should not be less than $50,000 or its equivalent. Branch office. For the branch office, the profit-making track record during the immediately preceding 5 financial years in the home country and net worth should not be less than $100,000 or its equivalent. Permitted activities. Liaison office. LO cannot undertake any commercial activity and acts as a communication channel between the principal place of business or head office and entities in India. Its role is limited to collecting information about possible market opportunities and providing information about the company and its product to prospective Indian customers. It can promote, export, import from India or to India and also facilitate technical financial collaboration between the parent company and companies in India. It cannot earn any income in India. Branch office can be set up by foreign companies. The permitted activities include the export, import of goods, rendering professional or consultancy services, carrying out research work in which the parent company is engaged, promoting technical or financial collaborations between Indian companies and the parent or overseas group company, representing the parent company in India and acting as a buying, selling agent in India, rendering services in the information technology and development of software in India, rendering technical support to the products supplied by the parent or group companies and foreign airline or shipping company. There is general permission to non-resident companies for establishing BO in the special economic zones to undertake manufacturing and service activities subject to BOs are functioning in those sectors where 100% FDI is permitted. Branch offices comply with Chapter 22 of the Companies Act 2013. BOs function on a standalone basis. Project offices can be set up to execute specific projects in India and cannot undertake or carry on any activity other than the activity relating and incidental to the execution of the project. Remittance. Branch offices are permitted to remit profits net of applicable taxes and on submission of requisite documents. Intermittent remittances by companies pending winding up are permitted subject to the satisfaction of authorized dealer Category 1 bank. Validity. License office. Generally for 3 years, except in the case of NBFCs and those entities engaged in the construction and development sectors for whom the validity period is 2 years only. Project office, as per the tenure of the project. In the next video, we will discuss how to register these organizations. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and wish to see more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel India Business Insights. Don't forget to like, share and comment to this video. Thank you for watching.